What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. A chill. Number 117, part number 3 of Off the Script this Sunday morning, May 15th, 2016. I'm actually glad I waited for Sunday morning to record this video because there were several news articles that came out late last night about CM Punk, and we got some new information on him and his UFC career, which apparently is not going very well at the moment. And this is a recurring story that has happened over the last 6 months. People are doubting CM Punk and him having a UFC debut. So I don't know what is going on. I know Joe reported it last night. I know some other goons in the fucking community reported it as well, but nobody gives a shit about their opinion. Only Joe and I. It really doesn't matter what anybody else says. Like I always say, fuck those other guys. It's right in the hashtag underneath the logo here. Fuck those other guys. But we're going to be talking about CM Punk right here as the top story on Off the Script, so stay tuned. This is episode 117, part number 3 for your Sunday. I did want to get this out earlier, but listen, fuck me, right? I decided to get some sleep. It's my off day from work. I got some stuff to do in the morning. I'm going to be streaming Call of Duty later. I'm going to relax. I'm going to take a nice little chill pill today and just recuperate because my body is fucking sore. Work is fucking killing me. I'm always tired. And I do have to record as well WWE social media comments number 2. After what you guys did for episode 1, it's probably the most highly anticipated series on my channel, man. I got to get to that as well. We're going to be doing YouTube this week. We're going to be doing YouTube. We're going to take a look at Roman Reigns on YouTube and whatever WWE YouTube page said about Roman Reigns and all the goons in the comment section. So that should be very, very entertaining. So look forward to that as well tomorrow at some point in the afternoon. But here we're going to be talking about WWE news and rumors. As of course, this is the #1 source for WWE news and rumors right here on YouTube.com. If you guys don't know, patreon.com/JD from NY206. You guys are continuing to kick ass with the pledges, man. Thank you to everybody that pledged yesterday. And thank you to everybody, as always, who have pledged already, man. I got to get everything set up. Each one of you who pledged, going to get a wrestling nickname, you know, chosen by me. And you guys are going to be shouted out on Off the Script in your own segment the first of every month. I got to get your t-shirt sizes. I got to get your Skypes. I got to get your Twitters. Those are the rewards for everybody that has pledged. Some of you, I'm going to be playing Call of Duty with live on stream, man. So I can't wait to do that. Hopefully you guys are fucking beasts and we can kick some ass on Call of Duty, man. A lot of cool rewards. So if you guys want to go check it out, patreon.com/JD from NY206. Join the team, man. Join the revolution of Team JD. Thank you to everybody. I love each and every one of you. And this channel would not be where it is today without you guys. Speaking of the channel, we are literally 100 away from 50,000. Can we do it today, man? Tell your mother, tell your sister, tell your father. If you're having dinner over your parents' house, tell them both. Listen, bro, subscribe to JD. He needs 50,000. Get the word out there, man. We want to do it today. 50,000, a milestone that I didn't think I would ever hit, and now it is going to be here before you know it, and then the next milestone can begin, man. Our quest to 100,000 subscribers, and hopefully from then, when that milestone is reached, everything will be a lot easier for the channel, man. I can't wait to do it. You guys are the main reason why this is all happening for this channel. Thank you so very much. Twitter, @JD from NY206. YouTube, subscribe to the channel. I don't know what the fuck you're waiting for, man. This is the #1 podcast on YouTube.com when it comes to WWE. ProWrestlingTees.com. Get your official merchandise of this very podcast. I got new shirts coming out. I was in contact with my guy Connor over at Pro Wrestling Tees. He is designing something and should have something for me by tomorrow night. So I should be able to unveil that with a big audience looking at my Twitter during Monday Night Raw, man. You're going to fucking love it. Me and him are going to be shooting ideas back and forth to get you the best possible t-shirt money can buy, man. But if you do want your official merchandise, there are 4 t-shirts up there as well right now. Version 1 and Version 2 of Get Off My TV, Goon City, and the original Off the Script t-shirt, man. That's ProWrestlingTees.com/offthescript. And WrestleCrate. WrestleCrate.com, and on Twitter at WrestleCrates. The #1 pro wrestling-based subscription service delivered to your front door. Use my coupon code JDSENTME for an instant 10% off. What can you get in the crate, might you ask? Shit like this, man. I got Psycho Sid. I got fucking Finn Balor. I got some very, very cool shit, man. Plus, you get a t-shirt in every crate if you guys get the ultimate crate, man. And t-shirts come from Barbershop Window. Great product. Pro Wrestling Tees. Great fucking product. It's absolutely worth your money and worth checking out, man. Pro Wrestling Tees, you can't go wrong with that. In every fucking box for the ultimate crate, that's paying for the box itself, man. Those t-shirts go for $25 a pop. It is unbelievable. WrestleCrate.com and on Twitter at WrestleCrates. Use my coupon code JDSENTME for 10% off. And the iTunes podcast went up yesterday, man. We are already at 2,000 downloads. So make sure you guys go check that out. iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, and Audio Boom. I will be verified within the next week or so for Google Play, man. They sent me an email. I am under review right now, so that should be up very, very soon. There'll be 5 different places where you can listen to the audio version of Off the Script, man. So everything is going very well. Thank you to each and every one of you. And let's get on with the wrestling news, man. There's news on CM Punk. CM Punk not progressing well as a UFC fighter. There has been much speculation about CM Punk, Phil Brooks, when he will make his official debut in an MMA ring in the UFC. However, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, numerous reports have surfaced that Punk is not progressing very well as a fighter at all. According to Dave Meltzer, he has sparred several times in the gym, and the reports are that he has not done very well at all. This might be due to the back injuries that he sustained during his time in WWE, but that cannot be confirmed at this time. UFC originally hoped for Punk, who has had to delay his training at times due to back and shoulder injuries, to debut in the summer or fall of 2015. But injuries and the way he adapted to MMA caused delays. UFC then looked to have him debut on the June 4th UFC 199 event in Los Angeles, but that was changed when Punk underwent back surgery. The same surgery that Cain Velasquez had a few weeks before Punk, and Cain is actually booked to fight at UFC 200 on July 9th in Las Vegas. The general belief is that his first opponent, Mikey Gall, will run right through him. UFC has not been talking about CM Punk much recently, even though the main reason that he was brought into the company was because of the media attention that he would receive. One of Punk's main objectives for entering UFC was to prove to everyone that he would be successful, or that he could be successful in the world of MMA. However, he may now be facing a situation where he cannot pull that off. When it comes to the subject of Phil CM Punk Brooks competing in the UFC, current welterweight contender Matt Brown has a very definite opinion. Ahead of his fight against Damian Mala, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Apparently he's going to be fighting Matt Brown at UFC 198 in Brazil. Brown spoke with the Fan Garage webpage, and the topic of Punk in UFC came up. I didn't criticize him, and I quote, for having surgery if it was something necessary that he had to do. Brown said of Punk's decision to postpone his UFC debut to get surgery. I criticized him for the fact that he's not a fighter. He doesn't deserve to fight in the UFC with 0 fights. Brown continued, I don't believe he deserves to fight in the UFC based off the name he made in pro wrestling, and I think he'll figure that out when he fights in the UFC. He'll figure it out the hard way. Or he can listen to me, and that'll be an easy way for him to learn. So there you have it, guys. CM Punk not progressing well as a UFC fighter. And I know Punk has a lot of detractors when it comes to him and wrestling in the UFC, him going to the world of MMA. I know a lot of people want to see him get his ass beat for the simple fact that they don't think that CM Punk deserves to be in an octagon. He does not deserve to be in the UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship, to fight with no fights under his belt. They know he was brought in merely for name recognition. They know he was merely brought in as a marketing ploy for the UFC to make them more money. And they brought him in based on name recognition to sell pay-per-views. They brought him in merely to sell and make money off him, being that he's a big enough name in anything that he does. You know, he's going to make Dana White and UFC a lot of money, and he's going to make a nice chunk of change for himself as well. Now, I know a lot of people on the wrestling side of things, you know, whereas when Brock Lesnar was in the UFC, a lot of people wanted to see Brock Lesnar succeed. You know, and the reason why I got heavily involved with UFC, I used to watch all the pay-per-views, man. I never missed a fucking pay-per-view when Brock Lesnar was there. I was very into the product. And when Lesnar got hurt and then when Lesnar backed out, I really didn't care for it anymore. But I was there to support Brock Lesnar because I knew he had the talent to succeed. I wanted to see him succeed. And based on the fact that he came from WWE, I wanted to support him. You know, now it's different with CM Punk. You know, it's not the same as watching Brock Lesnar and you being a WWE fan and you wanting to support Brock Lesnar because he's a fucking beast and he deserves, you know, all the fucking, you know, the adulation and all the support. You know, people wanted to see him succeed. CM Punk is a different fucking animal. You know, he came from WWE. And a lot of people on the wrestling side of things want to see him fail simply because of the way he treated WWE. And it could go both sides. You know, CM Punk, to a lot of people, is undeserving, and he's a prick because he walked out of the company that pretty much made the name CM Punk. They made Phil Brooks who he is today. They made the CM Punk character. CM Punk would be nowhere without WWE. He would be nowhere without Vince McMahon. And this is the truth. You know, no matter how much CM Punk wants to come off as a rebel, no matter how many podcasts CM Punk wants to go on and talk shit about WWE and how he was treated, yeah, he was treated badly. Yeah, they didn't treat him as a top-level superstar when, in fact, we all know he should have been treated as the next John Cena. He should have been treated as the #1 guy. He was the #1 guy in that company. He should have main evented WrestleMania. He should have been in the position that The Rock was in because he was there full-time and he deserved it and he busted his ass. But The Rock got to main event after not even being there all year. Those are gripes that I do side with CM Punk on. And I'm a huge CM Punk fan. I love CM Punk. I fucking await the day he comes back to WWE because you know what's happening. But the fact that CM Punk walked out of the WWE because he's a hothead, because he firmly believes what he believes. He walked out of the company that made him who he is today. Without WWE, there is no CM Punk. Without WWE, there is no CM Punk even getting into UFC. Without WWE, there is no big money contract with Dana White and UFC. This is a fact. A lot of people want to see him fail. A lot of people want to see him get his ass kicked because of those reasons. He walked out. He disrespected WWE. He got up and packed his bags and he left. He didn't give a shit about the company that made him who he is today. And now he's struggling. He's going to do everything in his power to prove everybody wrong, and that is admirable. That is great. You got to respect CM Punk and his determination to get what he wants. You know, the fact that he thinks he can do it. He's going to stop at nothing until he gets what he wants and gets where he wants to be. But if he can't do it, don't push yourself. Don't do it. You know, it's not going to be that bad if you just give up. You know, if you can't do it, we know you had surgery. We know that you're training and you're fighting. But if it just isn't meant to be, it isn't meant to be. This could be another door opening for him to go back into the WWE. You know, obviously there's going to be issues there. There's going to be, you know, bridges were burned with Triple H. You know, Vince McMahon openly admitted live with Stone Cold Steve Austin if he would be open to working with CM Punk again in the future. Vince McMahon, without any hesitation, said yes. Whether you believe him or not remains to be seen. But yes, Vince McMahon would die to have CM Punk back. Of course he wants CM Punk back. They would do, anybody in that company would want CM Punk back. Does CM Punk want WWE back? Would he go back to that environment again? I don't know. I don't know. CM Punk obviously is not hard up for cash. You know, he's very financially sound. He could do anything he wants. He could go anywhere he wants. He could go back to New Japan if he wants. He could go to Ring of Honor. You know, he could do anything he wants. CM Punk is a big enough name to take any one of those organizations fucking to the top. Any one of those organizations. That's how big of a name he is. But like everybody else, the Warriors, the Bretts, the Hogans, they will be back in the WWE because money talks. If Vince wants CM Punk, he will go out and get CM Punk. No matter what, price tag it is, Vince is going to get CM Punk back into the WWE. It might not happen this year, might not happen next year. Within the next 2 to 3 years, my guess, CM Punk will be back in the WWE. Because there is money to be made there. Punk knows it. Vince McMahon knows it. The return of Punk. Can you imagine? It might not be one of those returns that's going to automatically raise the product standard through the roof. It might not be one of those returns that's going to raise the ratings through the roofs, but everybody misses CM Punk, man. If there's one guy besides a Daniel Bryan who had to retire, because of injury, the one guy that people want back in the WWE is CM Punk. But the reason why people want CM Punk to fail is because he walked out. He disrespected the company that gave him, the name recognition and the fame, the fortune. Vince made CM Punk. Vince didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to push this small guy. They could have let him go. Paul Heyman backed him up. Punk got to where he was because of, Paul Heyman and the work ethic that he put in. And then people eventually opened up and seen that this guy had fucking talent. This guy had something. And Punk took it upon himself to fucking get to the top of the WWE. And when he got there, there was political garbage. The WWE, as always, pushed the man down. And that's why he walked out. I understand why he did, but without Vince McMahon, what CM Punk is going through now and his UFC contract and the big money fucking fights that he's got coming up in the UFC and the training, there would be no CM Punk in UFC at all. Who is CM Punk without WWE? Nobody. He's just Phil Brooks. He's just Phil Brooks. So CM Punk not progressing well as UFC fighter. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't want CM Punk to succeed because I want the very best for him. But like I said, if it's not working out, it's not working out. Give it your best. But if it's not going to work out, there's nothing wrong in stepping away. There's nothing wrong in reevaluating your situation and just saying, you know what, it's not working out. I'm going to step away. I'm going to fucking take time to recuperate. And then give Vince McMahon a call. See what's going on. You'd be surprised what happens on that phone call. He'll be back in the WWE. No question. He will be back in the WWE before all is said and done. Shane McMahon, what has he been doing behind the scenes in WWE since returning? There was a lot of speculation when Shane McMahon returned a few months ago about what his role would be on WWE television. On television, Shane had a feud with The Undertaker and that culminated at WrestleMania 32, and he settled into running Monday Night Raw with his sister, Stephanie McMahon, which is sure to turn into his next feud sooner rather than later. No question. Because Triple H is getting involved in this towards SummerSlam. However, the role behind the scenes is still a mystery. According to a report from DWN, DailyWrestlingNews.com, Vince McMahon made it clear that Shane's role in the company is that of an on-air character for the time being during the conference call for WWE's first quarter. As of this writing, Shane has no official title and is not an executive in the WWE. However, Shane O'Mac is still backstage, still believe that he has some input on what gets put on WWE television, which is always a good thing. I think Shane McMahon is level-headed and knows what the fans want to see, so his input should hold some credibility and some value. Hopefully they are listening to him and give him more of a role in that department. Recently, it is coming to light that Shane has some creative input into the top storylines. That doesn't mean his opinion means more than anyone else's. It just means that he is asked and is giving his opinion on the current product, which is always great, like I said. Shane has been very well received backstage so far, so that's a very good sign. It's been said that he's learning some of the newer technologies the company has introduced while he was gone. For now, that seems to be the launching point, and his role will either continue to grow and change as time goes on. According to Dave Meltzer, the plan is to have Triple H and Shane McMahon feud in the next coming months. Eventually, Stephanie McMahon's nice girl act will be dropped as she gets frustrated with not having ultimate power, which I'm assuming you guys should know is the direction that they were probably going to go in anyway. This Stephanie McMahon nice girl thing and her supporting her brother, standing behind her brother, this is all an act which will eventually turn to a power-hungry Stephanie McMahon, and that will lead to Triple H coming back to television to pretty much side with his wife. The rumor from here is that this issue between the two of them will lead to Triple H and Vince McMahon coming back to smooth things over. It's pretty obvious that Vince McMahon wants competition with his kids, so that will eventually be pushed. Triple H most likely will take his wife's side in everything, which makes things interesting. Some people have naturally assumed that Shane McMahon and Triple H will eventually face off at SummerSlam at the end of the summer. WWE's kept them apart since Shane's return. The reason for this is because Triple H is not a fan of Shane being back and even downplayed the return before it even happened. Most see the Shane hate as jealousy, seeing as Shane could return and gain power in WWE if he so desired, with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon never left, or they never left and have worked so hard for years to get where they are now within the company. The thought is that stuff would be handed to them, whereas they had to work for it. This is by no means happening, as the Inquisitor reported earlier in the week. Shane is not coming back as an executive with WWE and is just a weekly character on television. While this could change, this is doubtful, completely doubtful. All of this is being said, we should not expect Shane O'Mac and Triple H to wrestle each other anytime soon. Triple H will publicly support things, but behind the scenes, he does not enjoy Shane being back. As for what will happen in the future with Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon's angle, the rumor plan for months was to eventually lead to a brand split. There was a rumor that WWE could start it right after WWE Payback, but that did not occur. Most believe WWE's target date is now after SummerSlam, most likely because Vince McMahon will see that competition is needed yet again and feels his two children could fight against one another on two different shows to deliver that. It was said that before Shane McMahon returned, WWE was planning on doing the brand split anyway. The return allowed them a great way to do it with Shane returning, but they have to make the current storyline lead to something like this. It cannot happen overnight, which I've been stating for months. That being said, expect Vince McMahon's children to feud in a summer angle to get very interesting, man. So that is what is going on right now behind the scenes. Triple H, he will say publicly that he is happy to have Shane McMahon back, but behind the scenes, there is some animosity there. There is some jealousy that Shane is back because Triple H and Stephanie have worked so hard to get where they are now. Having Shane come back and say after so many years he wants to be back with the company working for the WWE, they are afraid that whatever they were working towards is going to be wiped away and going to be given to Shane McMahon, being that, he is the heir apparent to Vince McMahon's kingdom. If Vince McMahon is not here anymore, it would have gone to Shane. Shane disappeared for 7 years to go overseas. Stephanie and Triple H were working to get that spot. If Vince McMahon is no longer around, they have control of the company. They are the number one go-to, individuals in WWE. They are the fucking the fucking king, the keys to the kingdom, right there. They lead WWE. Now with Shane McMahon being back, Triple H has some animosity towards that. So obviously he's going to do the right PR move and say that he's happy to have Shane back. It's great for television, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of jealousy there. But I'm glad, out of everything that we just went over here, I'm glad that Shane McMahon has a lot of input on WWE creative, or at least they're asking him for his opinion. It really hasn't shown yet because recent WWE Monday Night Raws and SmackDowns have been fucking dreadful. They've just been boring. They just really reek of 2015. So I don't know how much input he's really having. I don't know if that hasn't happened yet. But Shane McMahon, being that he got the reaction that he did when he came back, and people are happy to see him, and he knows what the WWE needs. He knows what the fans want. They need some enthusiasm and some momentum injected into that product. Asking Shane McMahon is the right move. To see where his mind is on the product, what could be done better in his eyes. That's always a good thing, man. To have another great mind like Shane McMahon involved in creative, that's a very, very good thing. But who knows where this is going to lead. All we can pretty much piece together right now is that Stephanie McMahon's nice girl act is going to go sour. Whenever that happens, we don't know. But it's going to go south. And it's going to turn bad, and her nice guy persona is going to, turn back into the evil bitch. And she's going to get frustrated with Shane, and that's going to lead to Triple H coming back. And how they handled this Whether they have a match together, I don't know. That would be interesting to see, especially if there is real-life animosity and jealousy built into that. I don't know how that's going to work out. Maybe Shane McMahon gets Seth Rollins involved to fight for him, and Seth Rollins and Triple H fight for the company. The brand split is still rumored to be happening, with Shane taking over Monday Night Raw and Stephanie and Triple H getting full control of SmackDown. It's going to be very interesting to see, but all we know is that Triple H is going to come back, and this will lead to something. What that something is, we don't know yet, and we don't know if the brand split is really going to go into effect later this year. But a lot of interesting things. It's going to become a little bit more intriguing with Triple H coming back to television. Speaking of Triple H signs a new wrestling deal through WrestleMania 35. This should come as no surprise. Quickly, shortly before WrestleMania 32, it was revealed that Triple H's wrestling contract came up shortly before the event in Dallas on April 3rd. The company was contemplating extending it then. In reality, WrestleMania 32's main event was never in danger, nor was the game's future in a WWE ring. The only difference is thanks to a report from DWN. It can be confirmed now that Triple H has signed a new wrestling contract with WWE for the next 3 years. There was new WWE paperwork that was filed with the SEC that revealed the details of the deal this week, and that indicates that Triple H will be wrestling through at least WrestleMania 35 in 2019. We honestly don't know how many years Triple H has left in the ring, but his limited schedule in the ring would indicate at least a handful. This new deal that he signed will automatically renew unless it's terminated or Triple H retires before that contract expires. Triple H hasn't been seen on WWE television since WrestleMania 32, so there is no indication of what his next appearance on WWE programming will be, let alone his next opponent for SummerSlam or WrestleMania next year. I'm okay with this. Triple H looks in great shape. He's still a difference maker, even at 46, 47 years old. And he will be there, man. He is going to be there. So him being in the ring, you know, is a great thing for the product. Because there's a lot of new guys coming up. There's a lot of things Triple H can teach them, especially the guys that are under his tutelage in NXT. You know, they got to all go through Triple H eventually because he is the difference maker down at NXT. So having him in a WWE ring when it's most important during WrestleMania, I don't mind it. I just don't want to see him fighting for titles. I don't want to see him in the main event. You know, having a Triple H go against a Seth Rollins or anybody like that in a big marquee match at a WrestleMania, I'm okay with that, man, because it's Triple H. Triple H is fucking great. He still looks great. He's still in great shape. He still adds a lot to WWE television. There's no reason why anybody should like this move. You know, yes, yeah, he's an old-timer. You know, he's 47 years old, but if you still got it, you still got it. And who's going to tell Triple H that you can't wrestle anymore? Obviously, he still can. You know, the match he did with Dean Ambrose at Roadblock, you know, much better than what he did with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That shit was fucking terrible. The match he did with Dean Ambrose at Roadblock was fucking awesome. Absolutely awesome, man. So, just by that alone, you know Triple H has a lot left in the tank. Triple H signing a new deal through WrestleMania 35, I think that's a great move, and I look forward to seeing Triple H on WWE television. As long as the Authority does not get involved on Raw, man. We don't want to see that stale, boring shit ever again, but hopefully good things are to come with Triple H being back in WWE for at least the next 3 years. What else do we got here, man? Finn Balor. Everybody's talking about Finn Balor and May 23rd. Listen to this. Former NXT champion Finn Balor has been more than ready to be called up to the main roster for quite some time now. But WWE has decided to keep the former New Japan Pro Wrestling star down in their developmental program. However, it looks that this could change towards the end of the month. After former Bullet Club members Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson made their debut on the main roster, rumors that Finn Balor would be rejoining his old friends on WWE's main stage began to go around. Those rumors began to pick up even more steam after Balor surprisingly lost his NXT Championship to Samoa Joe at a non-televised NXT event. Following his loss to Joe, Balor told the audience that he was staying in NXT and he was planning on regaining the NXT Championship. His statement was met with a few boos. However, because this was done and everything was done, you know, to do in NXT, the majority of WWE's audience wants to see what he can do on the main roster. Last year, Balor said that, in his opinion, getting called up to the main roster would be a step backwards for him. At the time, his focus was building NXT as a brand, which he had become the face of. But on Wednesday, Balor said that if it were up to him, he would have been called up to the main roster a long time ago. Roman Reigns is set to defend the World Heavyweight Championship against AJ Styles in an Extreme Rules match on May 22nd. And it's pretty safe to assume that both Gallows and Anderson will get involved in the match just like they did at Payback. Most are expecting Gallows and Anderson, and they will end up turning on AJ Styles, which will clear the way for Finn Balor's debut. Some are expecting it to happen in Extreme Rules, but according to Cage Side Seats, Balor's debut will most likely happen the following night on Raw. The natural scenario would be for Gallows and Anderson to cost Styles the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Extreme Rules, which would lead to Balor's debut the next night. It's unclear where WWE will go with Roman Reigns after Extreme Rules. There's no obvious contender for the world title unless the company is planning to move to a three-way feud for the belt involving Balor and Styles as challengers. Whether it involves WWE world title or not, Balor and Styles will almost certainly be involved in a long-term feud with one another whenever the ex-NXT champion makes his first main roster appearance. If Balor does end up debuting on the main roster later this month, he'll still continue to chase the NXT championship, as there are plans for him to face Samoa Joe in a steel cage match at the next NXT TakeOver event. It will be the third time in a row that Joe and Balor have a main event match at a TakeOver show. Of course, Balor isn't expected to regain the NXT championship at the next TakeOver show, and it's likely that his cage match with Joe will be his NXT final match. So I don't know what is going on, man. You know, this is the main thing. This storyline in itself is fucking terrible. Everything revolving around Roman Reigns and the fact that AJ Styles and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson have been booked poorly, in my honest opinion. They have been booked terribly in this angle. Seriously, they've been booked like everybody else. They have not been booked like WWE superstars. They've been booked, you know, like fucking mid-card acts. They haven't been booked strong at all. Based off what they did in New Japan, WWE brought them in and made them just like everybody else. There's nothing to differentiate them from anybody else on the roster. The main thing about this storyline is the allure of Finn Balor. We don't know when he's making his debut. You know, if I was a betting man, he's not showing up on May 23rd. This is all bullshit. It's all rumors. When it happens, it's going to be a moment. But the main thing about this storyline is how Finn Balor, and this is what I said weeks ago, you know, it's all about Balor. I wish WWE would have went a different way with the storyline involving Reigns and AJ Styles and the Bullet Club, and they had the potential to make it great, but they're failing at making it great. They're not giving me good television. The main thing about this storyline, and the most intriguing part of this storyline, is Finn Balor. Where he fits in, when he debuts, how are they going to debut him, who is he going to go after, what business will he have with this feud? That's the main thing. And I said it, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't care. All the rumors are still talking about Finn Balor. Everybody's excited about it. Everybody can't wait to see him debut. I can't wait to see him debut either. I just hope WWE doesn't fuck it up like they are doing currently with this club angle and with the family angle of Roman Reigns and AJ Styles. You know, I have no faith in WWE at all to deliver anything, because they haven't shown me that they care about this angle. It seems like they're booking it week to week. There's no long-term storytelling with this angle. So I don't fucking know what's going on. The main thing about this is Balor. I don't want to know. I don't care. When it happens, everybody's going to mark out. And that will now signify that the angle really is of importance, because Balor is there. The rumors were true. The news of Finn Balor making WWE main roster and debuting on Monday Night Raw is going to be talked about for weeks. And then from there, WWE's got another problem. How are they going to book this now with Finn Balor added into the mix? If you can't book this correctly with AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows, how are you going to book this with Finn Balor in the mix? You can't do it right now with 3. AJ Styles is the best wrestler in the world. You're going to add Finn Balor to that and make it better all of a sudden? No. WWE doesn't know what they are doing. They're merely booking week to week, and their main objective, just like their main objective was all of last year leading into this year, going through WrestleMania, their main objective is make Roman Reigns look strong. They don't give a shit about anybody else in a storyline with Roman Reigns. It's always about make Roman Reigns look strong. And what's going to happen when Finn Balor is in this storyline? Make Roman Reigns look strong. I don't know what's going to happen, but apparently Finn Balor and May 23rd is being talked about as a debut for him on the main roster. And that's pretty much all I got, guys. You know, there was a story on Adam Rose. I'm not going to talk about Adam Rose anymore. I'm really not. I talked about it on my podcast on iTunes and Podbean. Go listen to it. I feel sorry for Adam Rose. He was suspended indefinitely by the WWE. He made bail. His wife pled with the judge for him to come home. That was the latest on the story. So, you know, he made bond. I believe he is home now. He is serving his suspension. I just hope his personal life, you know, regains some, it goes back to normal. It needs to just go back to normal, and he needs to worry about him. Make everything right at home. I know his son has some type of disease. I don't know what the exact thing is with his son. His son is disabled or something like that. I don't know the full story about it, but make your life at home right now right. Make everything at home right. You know, according to reports, Adam Rose grabbed his wife's face. He didn't hit her. He didn't do anything physical to her. He didn't attack her. He didn't beat her. He didn't bruise her. So, obviously, you're not supposed to put your hands on any woman, period. I don't give a shit who it is, okay? I don't stand for domestic violence. Neither do you guys. I'm sure of it, okay? Adam Rose fucked up. He didn't hit his wife. He didn't do anything outlandish like that, okay? He did tamper with the witness. He took the phone away because she wanted to call 911. He got slammed with that charge, and he got slammed with domestic violence. Really wasn't domestic violence. He didn't hit her, okay? WWE has a history of domestic violence cases in their company. So, for them to say anything bad about Adam Rose, they need to keep their mouth shut. They did what they needed to do. They suspended him, and that's it. All they said was that they don't stand for domestic violence. They suspended him. He's suspended for the wellness policy, and he's suspended for the fucking charges that were, you know, that he was charged with because of this incident. But if you look at WWE history, and this is just based off my common knowledge, Stone Cold Steve Austin was accused of domestic violence against Deborah. Goldust was accused of domestic violence against Terry Runnels, I believe. You got Scott Hall, who, during his fucking dark days, public intoxication, contemplating suicide, you know, all the pills and the alcohols that he mixed, trying to kill himself. He beat his girlfriend at the time, you know, WWE, you know, acknowledged that, yet he's still in the Hall of Fame. Kevin Nash, a few Christmases ago, had his son come home drunk, and he beat his son. He smacked his son around, in which he was charged domestic violence. Or something along those lines. So, there is domestic violence accounts in WWE. You know? But look at them. Scott Hall's in the Hall of Fame. Kevin Nash is in the Hall of Fame. Stone Cold Steve Austin's in the Hall of Fame. You know, Goldust is still employed with the WWE. Jake Roberts had his demons. You know, he's in the Hall of Fame. So, for WWE to speak out against Adam Rose in any light is wrong. The guy fucked up. Okay? Do what you gotta do. Suspend him. He's gonna learn his lesson. This suspension could be a good thing for Adam Rose. Have him get his home life, his family life with his kid and his wife right again. That is the most important thing to him now. Fuck WWE. Get your life at home right. Then when your 60 days is up for the wellness policy violation, then you can talk to WWE about what is the next step in his career. Is he going to be let go? Is he going to come back? Then that's when you worry. When things are right at home, then you worry about your personal career. Whatever happens at home is your most important. Adam Rose will always be able to find a job. Make sure your life with your wife and your kid are okay. Will WWE release Adam Rose? I don't know. If I was a betting man, I'd say yes. But they're not going to do it now while he's serving a 60-day suspension for the wellness policy violation. They're not going to release him because it would be a bad PR move. WWE does not want that. Releasing him could potentially make things worse. Do they keep him on the roster and monitor him and get him help? Or do they release him and things escalate and become worse? I don't know. This is a very tough situation. But I feel for Adam Rose, you know? I feel for Adam Rose. People make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Hopefully this suspension teaches Adam Rose that, you know, mistakes were made. He needs to get things right and he needs to learn his lesson. You know? Everybody falls on hard times. This is just a hard time for Adam Rose right now. Mixed with everything at home and being suspended at work for 60 days. Who the fuck knows what this guy was thinking? He was probably in a fucking terrible state going into this, and things escalated and got out of hand. You know? I don't know. All I know is that Adam Rose, I feel for him. I don't think WWE should release him at all. You know? Because that would be very, very hypocritical of WWE. And the one thing I did not mention, Michelle Beadle, ESPN's Michelle Beadle, outwardly spoke out about WWE for Triple H supporting Floyd Mayweather, who was known to be accused of several domestic violence situations. Triple H supports Floyd Money Mayweather. WWE backs Floyd Money Mayweather for his known domestic violence situations. You know, they don't back what he did in his personal life, but he is known and accused of such acts, yet they back him professionally. So, WWE being very hypocritical about things like that, but when it comes to Adam Rose, if they let him go, like I said, that word hypocrite is going to be thrown around quite often when it comes to WWE. Do I think he gets released? Possibly. Possibly. Do I think that they should? No. Because Adam Rose has had a perfect track record up until this point. He got suspended. Things escalated. He was upset. He was in a dark time. He's in a dark place. Bad days happened. Bad days happen to everybody. But when Adam Rose comes out of this, I think he's going to be a better person. I think WWE needs to get him help. I think WWE needs to monitor him, make sure that he's all right, make sure that nothing else happens that could escalate into a worse situation. And when Adam Rose comes back, he's got the full support of his company and his peers. That's what I think is the right thing here. But I do feel for Adam Rose, but that's the latest on Adam Rose. That's my opinion on Adam Rose. So let me know what you guys are thinking about that. That's off the script, guys. That's all I got for this weekend. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up. Sorry for the late upload. I got things to do. I'll be streaming later Call of Duty, Uncharted, everything you guys missed during the week. Link down below. Pro Wrestling Tees, WrestleCrate, Patreon, Twitter, YouTube. Subscribe. You guys know all that shit. Thank you so much for watching me this weekend. Episode 117. Part number 3 comes to a close. I'll be back with reading WWE social media comments number 2, Monday Night Raw review for tomorrow, and if you guys missed the iTunes Podbean podcast, that is now live down in the description. Go and check that out. I'm JD. Thank you so much for watching. 50,000 subscribers today. Let's try and do it, guys. If not, thank you for all the love and support, and I'll be back with more great WWE news and rumors and WWE content all week long. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Have a great Sunday.